Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, loved people. Welcome back to another edition of Minnie's Mental Health. I would like to say thank you for joining me. Where are you? Which country, which city around this whole world are you joining me from? I appreciate you. I'd like to say thank you. And on today's video, I'm going to be talking about trends. So, lots of us understand, pardon me, what the term is, or even if we don't, I think it's good to start by defining the term. So what is a trend? Depending on the context, trend can be a pattern of information. It can be a general direction of either information or social behaviors or attitudes or perspectives. So as you guys know, the aim of my channel is to promote, advocate for the mental well-being of young children. So of course I'm going to be talking about trends that are popular among children, that is primary school age, secondary school age. We all know that trends are very common amongst teenagers, as they like to share different sort of social media trends. For example, on their social media accounts, pardon me. So yes, so why are these dangerous at times, and why or how can they be positive? So if you all remember the ice water bucket challenge, that was a trend that really was for a positive cause. It was for a charity, and sort of like raising money for a charity that basically was helping people affected by, if I'm not mistaken, is it I'll link the link of the actual condition down below, but I remember that it was an ASL, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll link it down below in my comments box so that you can get the accurate information. And then that was quite positive. I remember that trend. I didn't quite engage in it because for me it was too much. Hey, water with the ice down my head, so my body, that was too much for me. But I know a lot of friends who did. I was nominated quite a few times, but I was like, sorry friends, I'll have to disappoint you, I can't. And then, as we know, there has been, or there is, should I say, an influx now of a lot of negative trends for children, which I don't understand why they should be negative. Personally, as a mental health advocate, trends such as they call it chroming, where children have to sort of put themselves into circumstances that really they can harm themselves, like using harmful circumstances, surfing, which is like using aerosols, spraying them near themselves. Why do they have to do such, and then post how they sort of respond to those chemicals on social media? I don't understand where the fun of that trend is, and it's really dangerous. It's been reported that quite a number of children have died actually from engaging in those trends. I remember there was another trend, I forgot the name of it, because as you can tell, guys, I'm one of the aunties. I was born in the 90s, so a lot of these trends I can't keep up with them, really. There's too many. But there was one where children had to sort of get into a box, or in either a tight box where they can close themselves in and basically just stay there until they can't breathe. excuse me if I'm wrong, but why would that be a trend? Number one, why would children sort of want to do that trend? And because usually a lot of these trends, they don't really tell their parents and or caregivers. Remember a lady sharing testimony basically that her daughter nearly died, and if it was not for the discernment of the Holy Spirit told her that to go up to the daughter's room. She found her in a box, basically doing that trend. So, as you guys know, I cannot do any of these videos without mentioning my faith. Who do you think is behind all these negative, sort of like vindictive trends? Like who's giving inspiration for these trends? Because it's definitely not wholesome. They're not wholesome. That's why I'm saying there are some positive ones, but as you know, Millie likes to expose the truth with what's happening around children and children's mental health. Think about their mental well-being. You know, for example, a 10-year-old puts themselves in a box and records themselves in pain, losing breath, just for the approval of friends. What does that do to their mental well-being? If another, let's say that's a girl, if another boy, let's say in secondary school, sprays aerosols and different kinds of chemicals around themselves, you know, and posts that on TikTok or Snapchat or a lot of these other social media platforms that the children of these days, the generation Zs and the generation Alphas use. Like, if that boy ends up being in hospital, like, how would that causes trauma? We all know that it can cause trauma actually. So right. A lot of my topics that I do are very relevant, as you guys can tell. Glory be to God. They need to be. We live in a very strange world, very wicked world, actually. I tend to reflect as I even do these topics, so apologies that my videos are usually not perfectly edited, because I just want to show the reality and the rawness of the topics I do talk about, some of which I have experienced as I've shared my stories, or I know people who have experienced some of the topics that I talk about. So my question is, for us parents and or caregivers, what can we do to help our children? What can we do to sort of be vigilant, but obviously not model cuddle them, because that's not preparing them for the world, in my own understanding, my own opinion. Number one, and which is the most important, is communication, of which we know. So are we communicating with our children? Are we asking them questions? Are we befriending them so that they're opening up to us about their days at school? Are we in their personal space? Pun intended. You know, do we have the passwords to their social media profiles? A lot of parents now get these apps where they actually control, like, whatever the children post, they can see on their phones. Can link those the links to those apps down below. It's critical, it's essential, it's vital that we have those kind of that kind of access to social media accounts, with them knowing, of course, but that would all be based and founded upon the bridge of trust and relationship that we have to have with our children in order for them to open up, Obviously, we need to be non-judgmental, not critical, otherwise they will not open up to us. I know that because obviously, like you, I've been a child before, and well, in my heart I'm still a child, but anyway, I digress. But it's easier to open up to an adult who is non-judgmental and non-critical. So whether that adult is your parent or a family relative or family friend, but if they're open, they are warm, they are non-judgmental, you're more likely to open up to them. I read as well that it's good, and I know it because I see it every day, to ask the children open-ended questions, critical questions, get them to reason. So questions where you and the child or you and your child can reason together as you're the parent and or caregiver. Yes, and other ways as well is to, I obviously, as usual, I'm always going to mention my faith. Pray for them. Pray. If you're Christian, pray. If you're another religion that prays, pray. I can only boast about my own faith. Pray that God will protect them. Pray that God will direct their paths. Pray for their friends. Pray for their influence, because we're not always going to be there with our children. And whatever values we install in them, whatever they see at home as well, not just by what we tell them, what is modeled at home is what they're going to sort of have as a blueprint, especially when they go out in the world, when they go out to school, when they go out to colleges and universities, etc. And I'm gonna sort of I can go on and on and on about different trends that are not healthy, they are not wholesome, they are evil, and it won't be my first time saying they are demonic. And one of those trends, I am going there, is the current one now. What is it? 6-7. Do we know what 6-7 actually means? Do we know that 6-7 is from a rapper who sort of made it popular? And this rapper, his name is Skrilla, Skrilla. This rapper is how can I say, he identifies, as per the terms of these days, he identifies as a Santeria. Do we know what a Santeria is? Santeria is an ancient Cuban/African worship of deities. So like gods, small letter gods, and they sacrifice to animals. They sacrifice animals like goats, like rats, like different animals, and they use the blood. If you ever watch, or you can check out Skrilla's rap videos, you will see that guy is under the influence of strange spirits. You will see from the visuals, you will see ritualistic sort of scenes in his videos. And what does he rap about? Death, killing. He popularized that word 6-7. Originally, it was apparently referring to a basketball player's sort of shirt number. I don't know if they call it shirts in America. Correct me if I'm wrong, for my American viewers, your basketball shirts. But he uses that 6-7 that even 2-year-olds are saying. As I said, I work with children, young children. I heard a toddler saying 6-7, and that toddler knows nothing of what it means, what the word actually means. So before we jump on trends, on the trend train, as I like to say, before we allow our children just to to like promote or advertise or be happy about saying certain slangs, certain phrases, memes, whatever they see on social media, let's find out what they actually mean. 6-7 is for me, the way I understand it's like a demonic chant. It's an evil chant that if you see children, I'm sure in America, because that's where it originated from. If you see children in the UK right now, from primary school level all the way up to, I wouldn't be even surprised, university level, every child who doesn't have this knowledge about what it actually means, or who basically could care less, who are just who've jumped on this train, that's all they just say, 6, 7, 6, and they don't know what it means. So let's educate ourselves. Loved people, let's be very prayerful and vigilant. If you have a Christian faith like myself, if you have another religion, be prayerful and vigilant, because the world we live in is a very sinister world. The world we live in, we need to have our spiritual eyes open, our minds open. We need to be vigilant at all times. So I'll leave it at that, or else I can go on and on and on and on. But if you don't remember anything else that I say, just remember this. Before we jump on any trend train, let's find out what the trend is all about, what it means, and whether it is that we want to sort of engage in it, especially for our children, that we need to safeguard if we are going to allow them to engage in it or not. Of course, they do it outside of our knowledge or when they're in school, but we can also do our part as parents and or caregivers. Okay, I'll leave it at that about this topic. God bless you, and see you on my next one. Bye.